As you have heard perhaps a time or two, last winter, within the space of 24 hours, I got 2 phone calls from 2 of our talent scouts. Both of them started out with exactly the same sentence in their phone call. I have for you the next Gordon Michael Scallion. To a word, within 24 hours, those same words were used. This next person was our second talent scout in that area, and we're indebted to her for bringing Danny Kasson to us. And I want you to introduce Robin Quayle, who has been our talent scout for this presentation for today. Welcome, Robin Quayle, here this morning, please.
Well, you know, for 25 years, I've had a practice. For 25 years, can you hear now? I've had a practice in the metaphysical spiritual realm, but I've also been teaching and speaking and writing during this time and researching the predictions, with my meditation groups and everything. We've often gone into deep meditation, and we've gotten information about the coming changes and the conspiracies and all these things. Well, I've been criticized many times harshly for having tried to enlighten or teach people about these things. And I think Danny has had the same thing. I've been accused of being a doomsday person and being an idiot and talking about the negative, and if we'll just all live in peace and light, everything will be okay and we don't have to worry about that. Well, I agree. I teach that we must do our own spiritual protection, and we are told when the right times to go, to move, to prepare, then we know when the right times are. 10 years ago, I had occasion to sell one house and buy another, and I thought, well, that was a time to move to the mountains, to go to a safe place that I'd been told. And I found a house, and I had the contract drawn, and I had the appointment, and I was ready to go up and sign it and complete the deal. It was a fabulous place. And all of a sudden, I got these terrific stomach cramps. And everything in my head was screaming, no, it's not time. How are you going to make a living in the mountains now? What are you going to do? You're going to get up there and you're going to be afraid out in the country all alone, everything. And everything in my heart was saying, it's not the time. Well, now is the time, and I know now is the time. And everybody, I think, is starting to get that message, and this information is being funneled down to so many receptive minds. And I am grateful for all the people here who are sharing the information they're getting, who are courageous enough to stand up here and tell it, and sometimes get ridiculed for it. And Danny is one of those people. Danny was ridiculed in Germany for years because he was telling his friends that he saw people partying on the Berlin Wall. And they were furious with him because they had no idea this wall was coming down. And he saw the curtain in Russia coming down and all these things. Well, I met Danny a little over a year ago, and I called Dean and told him that I felt there was a real sense of authenticity to the messages that Danny was getting. I think Danny is a real innocent because he has not been privy to a lot of this conspiracy material and predictions and all these things from other sources. And I think that's why sometimes this information is given to people who are real innocents about this, because the information doesn't get contaminated that way. I have been working with Danny and a group of people to try to form the Gabriel Centers International and to find a place now in the safe zones that Danny has delineated. He has now created a map that shows the safe zones in the United States. The maps are at the airport, and our friend is there picking them up at this moment. So we hope they will be back on our table back there by the time Danny finishes. If they don't, they will be there within the hour. But we have now found a place in North Carolina that's in one of the safe zones, and this will be the Heart Center, and Danny will tell you more about it, but it will be the research center, and it's just amazing how the timing, because all the wonderful minds that are contacting us, the scientists, the researchers, because this is a research center. This is where all these new inventions and everything, and I wrote a book about all the new inventions and how they are being funneled into receptive minds, how this information is being given to us for our own salvation. And this will be the place where these things will be put into practical use. And then there'll be many other centers around the country. But this will be the heart. So if you're interested in this place, then you can go to Danny's workshop, or you can talk to me or Linda or Phil or Brent or some of us back at the table who can tell you. And there will be a gathering up there soon that we'll tell you about if you're interested in coming to see the property and so forth. In the last 10 days, we've been contacted by a group represented by Steven Seagal that's interested in our project, and a bunch of doctors. Dennis Weaver. And then Danny called me the other day, and he said, you know, he's going to kill me for this. This computer guy was talking to me, and he's real interested in our project. And I said, what is his name? And he said, let me see, his name's Bill Gates. And I said, Bill Gates? And he said, yeah, he called me up and they're talking, said he heard the tape, and he was very interested in our project. And we talked for a while, and I kept saying, well, tell me, what did he say? I was excited. And he said, well, I couldn't talk too long because I said, Bill, I'd really like to talk to you, but I'm really, really busy right now. And said he just kind of giggled and said, yeah, I know about that. He said, I'll be in touch with you soon. And I said, Danny, don't you know who Bill Gates is? And he said, no, I'm not sure. And I said, Danny, Bill Gates is everywhere. He's a household word. Everybody knows who Bill Gates is. And he said, well, Danny's been living in Germany a lot, you know. And then Dennis Weaver called, and Danny turned to his wife and said, do we know a Dennis Weaver? And he said, well, you might know me from a TV series. I always wear this cowboy hat. And then he said, well, anyway, you know, I really didn't know very much about Steven Seagal. I wouldn't know him if I saw him. I don't know very many movie stars either. So, but the point I'm making is that Danny has a pure heart and an innocent mind, and he is receiving this information. And I believe that it is coming through very sincerely and honestly. And I believe that he's on to something. And so many other people who are getting it. And I don't think we need to have any jealousies between all these people. I think if we can just take and share and integrate all this information, it's so close. It's not all exact, but it all comes together in such a beautiful way if we'll just have an open mind and listen. So I want to present Danny Kasson.
Take us off so I can walk around with it. So if I have to run, I can run. There. Thank all of you for coming. And I hope we can cover here in the time I've got to be here a whole lot of things that's taking place. And things that started with me, I guess when I was just a small child, and I started seeing things. And when you have a mother that's a devout Southern Baptist, and you have a dad that's a devout Catholic, you don't talk about visions you see on the walls, you know, and they say God don't have a sense of humor. But I never could understand him, and I always rejected him. I had no choice to. And I had left in '78 and had gone back to Germany because half my family's German and the other half's American. And we had lived there on the economy. And the things started happening again. And I would drink 12 to 14 pots of coffee. I refused to sleep because of the horror, the things, because I couldn't understand it. And every time they would go into great detail. I didn't know what out of body was. I didn't know what all these things. It's still hard to talk about. But you know, they kept showing me these things, and it was, you know, the purpose was to pass it on, to get people to understand. like Robin said, there's no room for jealousy here. There's no room for bickering here. There's not time. Everyone has to understand. You know and hear what has to be done, or you don't know. God's made that decision. Some know him as the Great Spirit. I can't understand. I speak at least 3 ancient Native American languages, but I have no idea what I'm saying. I really, truly don't. But other ones do. When they listen to it, and then I talked to one man that came down. He was Cherokee, and he was a medicine man for their tribe, a small section of their tribe. And I asked him, I said, do you understand anything that's in this tape, that what I'm saying? And he said, yes, I understand some. And I said, then can you please translate it for me? And then he says, no, it's not for you to know. So, so then I'm right back where I started again. I can't explain these things. All I know is it's very, very important. You know, my gift, I didn't start getting it until this happened to my son. I have a hard time with this one. Michael, he had a severe car wreck, and he was in University of Cincinnati Hospital. And it crushed his skull. It had left him brain dead. This is where it started with me. And I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to keep crying all day about it. But the message was, twice before, our Father has sent us before you. Twice before in your life, you rejected the gift that you was given. And this time they waited for me. And I did. I went to him. And my son that was brain dead, today's 28. And so when it comes to miracles, I know a lot about miracles. I've seen greed take over. I've seen power plays come in. I've seen people try to use the gift that I've got for their own financial gain. That's not what this is about. This isn't. Everyone keeps saying, well, Danny, you know, when you were down in Daytona, it's all recorded. It's on tape. I said, you know, you realize everything on that tape that you told us came true? It's amazing. 100% accuracy out of Daytona. I didn't hear one person say, my God, I prayed for those that lost their homes. I prayed for those that died. Nothing. And that's the thing that hurts the most. People get so wrapped up, they use this more than they use this. And the thing that really got me the most is I like to walk around like this. So if you guys get mad, I can run. But anyway, the thing that gets me the most is when the messages came through, it said, you will find a place to where the people can come, and the people will come. And then they said, you will find the center that will be built that will help all people, not a specific group of people. And then I always ask questions. I don't care what I'm doing or where I'm at or what's happening, out of body or otherwise. I always ask questions. Why? Can I do this? Can I do that? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. The video that you guys are watching over here on the side is the area of the Smoky Mountains that we are in. And there's going to also be another tape shown about halfway through this one that will show the waterfalls and things that we have on the property. They go from approximately 30 foot to 60 foot to over 400 foot. And it's a very, very, very beautiful place. To me, it's almost like a paradise on earth. But you know, the thing I had the problem with is I always questioned him. My teacher was Yochnil, and he would always tell me, he said, they will do everything in their power to stop you. And I would say, why? I'm not hurting anybody. He said, it doesn't matter. It's what you have been asked to do. And I said, if I'm rubbing 2 nickels together 20 times to make ends meet, where does he expect me to come up with all this money that all these things that he wants me to do? And he said, it's not for you to question. It's for you to do. And then, I'm kind of silenced. And things go on a little bit more, and I keep talking and saying things, and it comes back again. After you look at as many properties as I have and things that's happened as a result of that, I gave up. I said, no more. I've had it. I said, no matter what I do, I can't find what you want me to look for. Show me. Where is it at? Tell me. Let me have an idea. And nothing. No response, no answer. They wouldn't even come to me. I guess I said, well, I did. I said I gave up. I had got a call from a man by the name of Dick Worsham. And he said, Danny, he said, and this is out of the clear blue sky. I couldn't have been within just a few hours after I said this. He said, I know you've gave up, but he said, listen to me. As a favor to me, would you please go down here and talk to these people and look at this community? And I said, Dick, I've had it. No more. I can't take any more of this. He said, Danny, please, as a favor to me, would you please go down? It won't cost you anything. Just go down and look. How do you tell an 83-year-old orthopedic surgeon that refuses to retire no? And I said, Dick, I will. As a favor to you, I will. I went down and I looked, and I knew in here, this is it. They couldn't get me away from the waterfalls. I mean, I was sitting on you sat on a rock for that long listening to the water and praying and thanking God. And the next message was, I said, well, I doubted you and I'm sorry. But I said, now that I have it, now what do I do? I said, there's still the problem of money. There's still problem. I said, where am I going to get the minds that even know what the heck to do? I don't know what they're supposed to do. This is our 6th week of having this property. And within this time, we've raised close to $2 million. There's $9.5 million sitting there. We have physicists of throughout the spectrum. I ask them, everyone that's ever came, the same question. I've not made this public. I was saving that for here. And I'll do anything for Dean and his crew because they had enough faith in me to let me talk to the people in Daytona. Well, they all started coming, the scientists, the professors, the physicists, the doctors. And these are just not your average doctors. These doctors sit on boards of major hospitals. We have one we like to call a gentleman farmer because he had went out and bought himself a beautiful spread. He's into organic growing. And he said it takes too long to change the plow blades, whatever it is, plow blades on the back of his tractor, big John Deere. But he said, I solved that problem. And I said, well, how'd you do that? He said, well, I went out and bought another one. So it must be nice to have that kind of money. But it's the idea, it's in here. When I asked him, I said, how did you know to be here? He said, Danny, I heard you speak down in Daytona. And he said, something opened up in here. And he said, I know I've got to be here. He's into alternative medicines. Before they get into prescription drugs, all these doctors want to concentrate on alternative medicines. They want to get together, the group out of Atlanta that's with Steven Seagal. All these doctors are into alternative medicines. These are orthopedic surgeons, these are cardiologists, neurosurgeons, every spectrum. The only thing I haven't found yet, and he said it will come, I haven't found a dentist. That's the only thing we haven't got yet. But they're, well, that's enough. But everyone is coming, and they all say the same thing. It was in a dream. Or they said, if anybody would understand, you would. In here. I know in here. But I said, how did you know where it was at? We drove. They just drove. That was it, and now they're there. We're getting into, what was it, geothermal? That type of technology. We're not only doing these projects, they're being installed, but we're setting them up for other communities. People have mistakenly, and I found out since I've been here, they've mistaken the safe zones, that if you live outside of these, you're going to die. You're not going to die if you're not in areas where you will die. In other words, when the earth changes come, the only thing I'm trying to tell people is these are the areas, regardless of what comes. What? Oh, okay. The maps are here. Thank you. I've worried myself sick about that. But anyway, where was I at? You can live outside of these safe zones. The only thing, the message that was given to me is, our Father has given unto his people the safe zones in which to survive. The communities can go in here, but you have got to remember, if you live so far out and you need help or you need medical attention, and there will come a time, and you're seeing it happen now, if we can't get to you or someone close, whether it's in Montana or whether it's in New Mexico or whether it's in Colorado, if you're so far out we can't get to you to get you what you need, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? If you're a single individual, a single family, or just a couple families, you have to remember you're going to be looking at a mob status. People are going to want food. They're going to want what you have. And you're seeing this happen now. When I tried to tell people what was going to take place within the central region of China, they laughed at me. I said, ridiculous. You're looking at, it's cost millions of people, their homes, their lives. It's there. I'm not psychic. I'm nowhere near a prophet. And I know I tell everybody this at every lecture, I'm no more than a guy like from UPS. They give me the message, I pass it on, and then I move on. That's all I can do. That's all I can be. But when you have the kind of minds, no one in this room could afford to pay the consultation fees for the doctors and the physicists and the scientists here. And the number one question I ask every one of them when they come down, if you're needed to go to another community for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and help them set a project up for hydro, or help them with a geothermal, or help them with something they specifically need, help them set up, their own clinic, what would your answer be to me? It's been unanimous so far. We'll go in a heartbeat. Not only to go to talk, but to set the systems up to make sure it's in full operation and going. You can put out with one of these hydro generators, safe to the environment, does not hurt the water whatsoever, wildlife, nothing. And you're looking at 50,000 kilowatts of power. One of these is strong enough to completely power our entire community. We're not an armed militia. That's not what this is about. It's to take the knowledge, the databases. All these people are downloading their databases into one database. Anyone here can tap into this. If it's not in our database, then we can turn around and we'll find the answer for you. It's everyone helping each other. Not one person saying, you know, go here or go there, or I'm doing this, or I don't like that, or I don't believe in this. There is no time for this anymore. I don't have the answers to why all these people came. They know to come. Only one I know can do that's God. But he told me they would come. And they did. And they still are. The knowledge to be learned. Can you imagine the 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that are going to have not only the books, common sense, there's professors coming from Yale, Harvard, Duke, Arizona State. The list is endless. And I can't explain. You have done nothing until you said, is Roy here? No, Roy left, didn't he? So I'll say it. You've never sat in on anything until you sat into a room packed with physicists and they're telling jokes. You cannot, it take them 9 pages of paper to tell you the joke, 3 pieces of paper to give you the punchline, and 4 more pieces of paper to explain it. Yeah. But you know, that's the beauty of all this. It's one thing to have the gift. Okay, you know, I've been attacked, I've been threatened. I know Dean, I cannot believe Dean's organization would. But you know, you see things. I've learned so many things from the people that's here. Just talking to them, picking things up from them, trying to get them to understand. Every one of you are special. No one seems to understand. Does anyone in here know? Well, I know one person does. But does anyone in here know how you can tell when you're in the presence of an angel? Oh, I see no hands go up, so I'll tell you anyway. I know you do. But you know, when you come in, it seems like everybody waits till there's no other alternative. Every exit's been closed, and then they finally ask God for help or the Great Spirit for help. But you know, you can always tell because you get a warm, loving feeling in here, and you get chills running all up and down your body. And then it's gone. And then you're sitting here thinking, well, why didn't I know that in the first place? I've talked to so many people that it happens to. But you know, when you look at it, mankind is the one that made the 250 variations of the Bible. Mankind is the one that had turned around and had altered the different beliefs. I was unaware that seminary schools now have a class that they teach. It's mandatory. And that class deals with how to ask your parishioners for money. What does that have to do with God's word? It doesn't. I've talked to priests, rabbis. Well, I won't get into that one. But anyway, I've talked to so many people, and when I hear someone say, if there's going to be a message given, it'll come to me, and I'll tell my following. I cannot believe an archbishop would say something like this. So the center that's going in will have the auditorium's going to be built. It's going to be, the message was for me. This is for all people of all races, of all religious beliefs, of all worlds. Anyone can use it. And it doesn't cost you a nickel. It's there for you. The lectures, I don't care if you're Jewish, if you're Protestant, if you're Lutheran, if you're Native American, it's there for all of you. The technology being there is there for you. It's not to cost anyone anything. It's there to help. It's to get the messages out. I've only talked in this whole wide world since I've been going public to 2 other people like me, and one refuses to go public. He said, I have a hard enough time trying to explain to my wife and my kids why this happens to me, much less going out and trying to tell someone else. Until you've lived it, until you see the things I've had to see, And there's some things I won't never tell people. But the best thing that I can say is open your hearts, because now's the time. You see what happened. The Muslim world right now is lighting up like a candle. The Soviet Union, Russia, has already made the threats. They are appalled. The entire Muslim world is appalled what the United States has done. The message given. Mankind has escalated the events, soon and yet to be, not our Father. There's so many things you need to look at, and you need to understand, and you need to help each other, regardless of color, regardless of race, regardless of religious belief. Too many people talk of these things taking place, but no one's doing anything about it. He said the people would come, and they're coming. I don't understand them, but they're coming. There's nothing that you could ask for, nothing, that cannot be gathered here. Nuclear physicists, everyone says we don't want them. I don't want them here. Why? Because it's what they did has started this mess throughout the world. Then you come back and you say, okay, there's a lot of things getting ready to happen. And now, they have poison gas and a lot of other things. They're threatening to poison water systems and water supplies, and there is going to be some done. There's going to be a great deal of things happen. So that means you don't want these physicists anymore. That's right. No need for them. They're outdated. Who's going to shut these systems down? Who is going to go into these power plants, has the knowledge and the ability to shut these systems down, to keep them from going into meltdown? Everyone has a purpose. A 70-year-old woman tells me, Danny, there's nothing I can do. I live in a trailer. I've got a barn outside. She said, there's nothing I can do. I said, everybody's special. But you know what she liked to do? Her hobby. She didn't know why she was possessed with it. She would buy 50-pound bags of non-hybrid seeds. And she had mountains of non-hybrid seeds under her bed in her closets out in the barn. She said, and I said, what in the world? And you think you have no importance? And she said, well, my kids think I'm crazy. They have, and I said, well, why? And then she opened up her spare bedroom door. Well, she tried to. We had to go like this to get through it. And it's packed with non-hybrid seeds. And she said she kept having the same dream over and over and over and over. We're not just getting into the research side. We're getting into the organic growing. We're getting into greenhouses, hydroponics. We have a director for a well-known university up here in this area that wants to come down and set up not a generation system, but an irrigation system, okay, that will run uphill. Oh, could you please put that other tape on for me? Or have you done it already? She just gave me the 30-minute warning. But there's so many things. I don't think there's not one question out here that any of you could not ask of these people and not get an answer. You talk about law. How can, and boy, now you know what people feel about lawyers, but how can you get the kind of caliber of lawyers coming here also? So you've got doctors, you've got lawyers, you've got scientists, you've got physicists, you've got professors. We have, and everyone stops and says, well, Danny, what's all this for? What the heck are you doing? I'm not doing anything. I'm not. They are. And no one understands that after it's built, and it's being built now, once it's done, I'm not allowed to go in it. And that's not for any of you to understand. That's what I've been told. And I won't. Once it's finished, my job, what they've asked me to do, is done. I'll move on to the next. We've got 8 communities like this going in already. It's here for all of you. But the bottom line to what Gabriel Centers International is about, what the Gabriel Foundation International is about, everything that we're doing is for the children. It is all for the children. They'll have hands-on with all the projects going on down here. There'll be children taken out of devastated areas. Everyone kept saying, well, you got to be doing this for one particular reason. There's got to be something in it. What is it? Glory, fame, money? No, I want one thing. And anyone that knows me can tell you. I ask for one thing and one thing only. I want the biggest, the best, the most beautiful children's playground that money can buy. I want a paradise for children. So when they enter this, and I want it built down by the falls in the park. There's a 10-acre park going in now. I don't care what devastation they've seen. I don't care what they've witnessed. When they go in here, they can turn back into a child again. The psychologist is there. All these people are coming. And no one needs to tell them what to do. They already know what to do. They don't need me to say it. They don't need anyone else to say it. It's just sometimes it really amazes me, because how can all these people get together? In the last meeting we had, I sat here and I just listened. How can you get this kind of caliber of person? And if you try to tell someone why, how do they know to come here? They'd laugh at you. A dream? Yeah, okay, right. A vision? Uh-huh. There's no answer, there's really no explanation. But they're there, and they're there now. All systems are being done. When it's completed, it'll be opened to these other communities. We'll help anyone out here that we can help. That's what this is for. It doesn't matter what church you're from, what belief you have. We're here to help and to get the word out to everybody. That's what got me with Linda Vepula. She's our administrator. And Robin and Phil Sparks. Everyone always asks me the same thing. Got another one right. And then they follow it with, well, give me one more. Just, let him give me one more sign. I'm giving no more signs. I'm really not. I've given enough. I don't want to have somebody come up and say, well, we need to do this and do this. I don't want to hear it anymore. I've heard the theories. Now I want to see the practical use. Don't talk about it. Do it. A methane generator, it'll hook up to a septic system. Don't tell me about it. Give me a couple. We'll research it. We'll get the data on it. Oh, but you can open this up to every... No, I want to give me a couple to test. Then we'll talk about it. Microwave telephone systems. There's so many things, but you know what? They're doing it. These things are coming in, but I will not give to any one of you a manufacturer and give our blessing from this and say, in other words, buy his product, it works, and then get a kickback, and then find out it doesn't work. No. If they want us to stand behind it, then they'll give us 1 or 2 or 3, and we'll test it. Or we'll get it out to these other centers out here in the West. We'll let them test it. Then, if the tests prove right or wrong, these people have it. They know. But in the process, it's not cost them anything. There's too many rip-offs out here. Too many. And now is the time for us all to do something about it. You will know, those of you in this room will know what I'm talking about in here. Some of you won't believe anything that's being said. Some of you will think, well, these safe zones is no more than alien hangouts. You know, and that's what I've been told so far. When I was up in Daytona, I had on a suit like similar to this, but it had a V in the front of it. And I didn't have much money then, and I had walking pneumonia, and I had laryngitis. And Dean couldn't figure out why my workshop was so small because I got there late. I had 113 people in my room in a day and a half. They all knew. I have a problem, a big problem, when someone tells me, and I've talked, well, I won't get into that, but when someone tells me how spiritual they are, and all we can do together by joining minds, and we can change things that's going to happen, and they have a large following. And these people are not preparing. They're doing nothing except listening. Oh, we don't have to worry about that. It's not going to happen. See, you've been brainwashed, Danny. These things aren't going to happen. And then you find out this great spiritual person already has a facility built, underground food storage, deep wells. They're ready to move on a moment's notice. All right, if they're so spiritual and they know so much, why are they digging in? But they won't tell the people that listens to them. Hey, wake up, gang. There is no secret organizations. There is no secret hiding places. This is to be made public to everyone. If these things could be changed, why have they not changed them? Why has this happened in Pakistan, in the Sudan? Why is it still happening now? Things have already escalated. It's what all of you choose to do with the knowledge that you have. It's what all of you choose to do. No one's saying come down here to North Carolina. No one's saying any such thing. What we're saying is, I know groups down here that's already starting, communities within Arkansas. They're nowhere near the triangle or the safe zones. You have to remember, we're putting in twin heliports. A Huey chopper. A Huey only has about a 4.5 hour fuel supply. So that means if we have to go out with, from that locale with what we have in storage, we can go a distance of 2 miles, 2 hours out, 2 hours back in a 30-minute reserve. If you get so far out, how is anybody going to be able to help you? And that's what you have to remember. You can be anywhere if you have enough together and enough support. Shortwave stations, wherever you're at, whatever you're building, whatever you're going to do, get a shortwave radio to where you can not only listen and stay in contact, but to where we can get back and forth. We can know who's there. That's going to be the only type of communication we have. I have a lady tell me about, she said, well, to make so her kids can watch TV. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's not, well, she said, no, Danny, they're not that kind of children. And then she said, come back here and look in the family room what I've got. So I did, and I couldn't believe it. But I wouldn't want to watch no more TV. These kids have a bicycle that has a generator set up on it. And they have to pedal. For every TV show they want to watch, they pedal their little heart out. And you're seeing, and imagine watching a 2.5 hour movie. But she's, the kids loved it. The kids did. They said, well, we just don't like to watch reruns, But they get out here. There's so many things. You don't have to be a scientist or anything else. You have to know and hear. Every one of you is special. Every one of you have something. You know what it is you have to do. All of you. There's not time for gossip or rumors or nothing. You know and hear. If you don't know and hear, there's nothing I can do for you. This, and I keep saying that, this is for all of you. This is to help all of you. The lectures, the speakers, the list of speakers is endless. It's endless. The knowledge that's there. But now I don't, like I said, I don't want to hear people talk anymore about it. Too many people knows what's going to take place. Too many people are saying what needs to be done. But I don't see anybody doing it. And that's like pouring gasoline on a fire and trying to put it out and can't figure out why it keeps getting bigger. Now you've got to do something. And all of us can. Gabriel Centers International, me, all of us will do anything and everything we can to help. All you've got to do is let us help. Don't go by the names of the people that's there. Go by what's in here. Don't be impressed because of dollar signs. It won't be long and your dollar signs will help start fires. But that's about all the money's going to be good for. It's what you're going to do with it now. Prepare yourselves. I talked to a man that was separated from his wife, and I couldn't understand why. And he said, you know, he kept having the same visions. And he knows he has to get out of Atlanta. And we talked. He had went ahead and taken out a great deal of money. He has one of the largest corporations up in Atlanta. And he had taken out all this money. His kids wouldn't, his married, he had 2 daughters, I think 2 daughters and a son, and they were all married with grandchildren. And no one would listen to him. They thought he was crazy. They said, Dad, you know, there's talking about, you know, well, a lot of crazy things. He had taken this money out, had gone up into the Blue Ridge Mountains and built the most gorgeous cabin you could ever lay your eyes on. Huge logs. Underground, you know, the basements and things. He did this house, I mean, like a man possessed. No one would help him. He did it without their knowledge because they didn't want to hear it, because he loved his family. Well, his wife threw him out. She found out the money was gone, and he wouldn't tell her what he did with it. And she thought he was having an affair. And she did. She threw him out in the street. His sons turned against him. You know, all the kids did. And I asked him, I said, well, why didn't you tell them? He said, because, Danny, they didn't listen to me in the first place. They were talking about having me committed, going to a psychiatrist because of these things. He said, so what I did, I went out and I done it by myself. So his wife threw him out. He stayed out for 6 months. He got a letter in the mail from his wife's lawyer that she wanted a divorce. So he finally gave his attorney permission, and they got together and had this nice little meeting, said they'll have to drive for about maybe 3 hours, and I'll show them what I did with the money. And he said no one said a word. He told them one time and one time only why he did it, because he loved his family. So, you know, that's the kind of love and dedication that we all together have to have. Don't let what other people say about you interfere with what you're doing. Do not let the rumors and accusations and things change in here. You've got to know whether you're supposed to do something or whether you're not. That's why I have a hard time shaking people's hands anymore. It's one thing because you don't know what it's like to know if someone's not going to be here or who is. That decision should be made to God. That's not my job. So please remember, the next time you hear rumors, the next time you hear people cutting down other speakers, the next time you see something happen, look into that person's eyes. If they cannot keep a stare, ask them, why are you doing this? Why? Tell me if they keep a stare. 9 times out of 10, they won't. You know, I remember I seen some photographs and things. I hadn't got into UFO things and things like this and what was happening throughout other worlds. I met a man by the name of Brian Williams. And he enlightened me a great deal on some things. I had no idea the use of crystals. I met another young man by the name of Tommy Hawksblood. And it's amazing. And then you hear allegations made about wannabes and things. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I've never done this in public. And let's see, what have I got? About 5 minutes before my time's up. I got 10 minutes. I'll wait 5 more minutes. And I want to give a message. There's 2 people in here that deserve to hear this, and I understand one had left. And it'll be a very, very short message. But the ones that's here that is supposed to hear it will understand it. But it will help you know a little bit about my world. And I really, really, truly, truly hope that all of us can work together. Because if it wasn't for Dean's organization, we wouldn't be here now. And it won't be too much longer. And you're going to be watching organizations like this go underground. And the underground network has already started. It's going to be taboo. So take what you can get. Every bit of knowledge that you can take it now. You don't want BS. You don't want hearsay. You want facts. Give me facts now. Tell me so I can pass it on. Only pass on the knowledge and the understanding and the kindness. But when someone gives you something that's too good to be true, you better question it, because it most likely is. I've talked to too many people that thought they could invest a great deal of money into great things. I think it was pay down $100, and they'll pay you back at the long-term investment $75,000. They've lost everything. Don't let this happen to you. Use the knowledge you've got. If you have questions, don't look at yourself like, well, he might think I'm stupid. No one's going to think you're stupid. Don't care what they think. Ask that question. Go with it. Don't never stop. Now, have I got about 5 minutes? 9? Okay, because I want to answer some questions. Oh, let me do this first. If you guys would have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you, because once I do this, I'm not really going to be able to talk very well. And I do want to save this last part for, like I said, there's a few people in here that need to hear this. All right, so do you have any questions? Put me on the spot. Okay. I want to go ahead and I want to do this. Now, I'm not Native American, nor do I claim, oh, you can't hear? Okay. I'm not Native American, nor do I claim to be. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a psychic. I'm not anything. So I want to show you how can someone like me, blonde hair, blue eyes, how can someone like me speak these languages? Oh, they can't hear. Well, I can't hold the mic. Could you turn it up a little? There, okay, I'm sorry. Because I can't hold anything once this thing starts. One anate. Ona tinata. Hinonate. Koni anata. Ona tana li. Boneacha. Kanata. Ona atenata. Hitanate. Sino onaka. Ona tinata. One ata. Kinati. Onata. Ino o bone akanate. Oh, I better stop.
Thank you, Danny, and I'm sure he'll be able to talk with you after a while. Now, I want Troy Reed to come up here, please. I ask you all to stay here because we have some other information to present to you that might be of great interest to you in the very near future. And if you would get the pictures lined up. And where is Troy? Hello? I don't... Oh, here it comes. I want... This fits in or follows with what you ought to, I mean, you probably want to know about saving money, saving energy, producing energy, and that sort of thing. And he wasn't able to bring his video, or his products right at this time. But if there are still pictures available, which can be seen on the TV screen, so watch for that. And I want to have Troy tell you some of the recent developments that he has produced and will be probably available to you within a month or so. So welcome Troy Reed back with us after a few years. He was here about 4 years ago, and I want him to tell you.
They said that I had 15 minutes, and I'm going to try to cram. I'm going to get this chair out here. before I can sit down here and talk to you people about some very, very serious things that's getting ready to happen. I just got through talking to the people out in California that's actually funding this project on the magnetic motor that I had started a long, long time ago.
Just get closer to it.
Have you got anything I can put up here? Can you hear me now? I want you all to listen to something very serious. And I just found out a while ago, I had talked to the people in California, and I was told not to even mention a few things about what they're doing is because it's got real serious, and the word is getting around that we're getting ready to release the magnetic motor that we had done. In 1959, I invented a motor. It's called a magnetic motor, and it took all those years to do this. And when people talk about magnets, they're a very strong object, and it will play a lot of roles in this world. Last night, I was watching this fella up on the stage here with these little blue energy systems on it. It took me 4 months with the patent office, and it realized what some of this circle was. There's a way to put a magnet together to create a ball-bearing effect. That's what's in my motor. That's what makes this motor run. This motor has no drag. You can turn it real slow, and it runs real free. This motor that we're getting ready to build is 8 feet in diameter. The wheel inside is 7 feet and 11 inches, 10 inches wide. The wheel will weigh between 1,000 and 1,900 pounds for this motor. This motor will be going to California. It all rolled back. This motor, when we first started, we was going to do something with the farmers. Now, can you believe God had been with me all this time when we started? I have been through hell with all kinds of people said that they could produce money. I've had a lot of millionaires in my company, and they didn't do anything. They said they could do it. Now it has come to I have went up over the hill, and now we're on the last run of this motor. I've got other technology. I'm going to try to tell you a lot of the other technology, but I'm going to try to tell you what's happening with this motor. Everybody is wanting to know about this motor. It will be going to California. It will be put on a farm out there on an irrigation system. It is a 100 kW generator, will run on its own power. While we're building the 100 kW, we are building a 3-foot motor for a model home in California. It will be publicized. The people that got involved with me has already got money in place in London. And I was told earlier when I was talking to him that in 4 months, this motor should be in California running on this platform that they're going to build. Now, that is my dream. I have, if you can understand something, I'm getting ready to draw my first Social Security check in March. So I have been working awful hard on this technology, and I have had my ups and downs on this. Now the truth has come down. It's going to happen, guys. I was up here about 4 years ago speaking in a conference, and a lot of people say, well, how come it's not out? Well, there's a reason why. Rome wasn't built in a day, but after it was done, it was pretty. And this is the way I feel about what happened. There's always a reason why things happen. I was told last night, I don't know if the fellow's out here listening to me. I was surprised to hear what he said to me in the elevator. I asked him about this tape. They made a tape out in California, and I hadn't even seen it. It's got a lot of my technology on it. It's got my picture on the back of it sitting on a car. I don't pay too much mind to any of these videos these people make. But these videos are getting out, and it's creating a lot of interest in a lot of people. He told me last night, he said, I can tell you, Mr. Reed, I think that's how I think he's Japanese. Are you here? He's got a black beard, and he said, you're very famous in Japan. So I think right now that the word is begin to come down, that this is really getting serious, that us people in this world will see some free energy about running your homes and never pay electric bill. I am not after any electric company at all in this world. This device that I've got is here to help us people instead working 2 weeks at a time and drawing money, and it all goes out for utilities. Why not put that money to a good purpose? I came up with a brand new heater. It's called a heat wheel. I've got an electric bicycle now. We've got 2 electric automobiles. One was called A. Troy that we took out to California. It cost me $10,000 for that show, and I stole the show in Los Angeles, California. All the electric automobiles was out there. Couldn't believe that all the people was gathered around me. There may have been about probably 2, 3, 4, 5 people around some of these high-dollar automobiles. I can tell you right now that these cars that they've got out there, the battery pack in that thing cost $100,000. The Honda electric automobile, I drove the EV. In a way, I had a part of changing that name on the EV. It used to be the Impact. I was picked from the United States government to go to a place called Allied Signal. And you know me. I will speak my voice to these people. Said, if it's so real, come to Tulsa and I'll run circles around you. They didn't do it. The Impact was an R&D thing for the Chevrolet people, and they didn't challenge me. They changed the name to EV. I did drive it. It is an automobile that runs on an AC. It's got a battery pack that uses a power supply, a DC power supply, to run this electric automobile. The guy asked me, he said, told me to push on the throttle. I did. I'd give anything in the world if it had been a Tulsa and pushed on this little Geo. This little Geo has got 287 pounds of torque out of a 10-horse motor that I came up with some technology to drop the amperage in all motors, even if people don't put these motors on their house that we have. It will still drop the amperage on all AC motors. I was told from the patent office, and the people that put the attorneys said there would be over 200 years before this device could ever be copied. Now that made me feel good because I'm going to live till I'm 350 years old. Then I'm going to hover after that to see the technology. Then on my tombstone, I want here lies a very comfortable man, that I have done something for this planet. There is devices out here to help us. This will be my last talk. I was told from some people in California, I will not mention their name, due to the fact that this is very serious, is what I'm doing. There's going to be a lot of people disappointed into seeing somebody that can actually turn their lights on and not have a power line run to their home. Just like I said, I want everybody to know I am not after the electric company. I'm out after to help us people. How many minutes I got? I got some stuff I want to... 8. I got 8 minutes. It's hard to push 9 years into 7 minutes or 15 minutes or 2 hours or 8 hours. I got some photos. I want to show you something. The first bicycle that I came up with is an electric bicycle that it will not ever have to have a battery charger to it. If the battery goes down in it, it has got a small 12-volt motor in it. There it is, was the first prototype of it. We took and rode this bicycle 20 miles. I did that. We had it filmed. They followed me. The next picture. This is the latest new bicycle that I came up with. The motor in this is called the Surge technology. It's a pulsing system. As the motor runs, the amperage draws back, and it puts energy back into a battery. This bicycle, I rode 40 miles with this bicycle, and I got so tired, I ended up had to pedal it. The battery never did go down. I don't know how far I could have got on it. But if you want to go out and pedal a bicycle, ride a bicycle, I'd love you to come to Tulsa and ride it. And you ride 40 miles, 50 miles. That way I can save my tiredness. I've got other things. This fellow here is Dennis Weaver. He's an environmental person. Everybody knows him. He's an actor. He is my cousin. Dennis and I have got a car. It's called the Surge 1. We come up with the another little A-Troy car that runs on 6 batteries. I did come up with a battery that will charge from 8 to 12 seconds. Has no lead or acid in it. I built this right here 3 weeks ago. It's going to have a little Surge motor in it. A very comfortable little bicycle. You can go ride this on a river park. Go ahead and go by. I won't go real fast because I don't think I got too much time. And I wished I could have had a lot of time to talk and bring a lot of this stuff. But I'm gonna tell you, this motor, the funding is in place. It will be built. We will eventually have this motor on our homes. They are going to get the price down real cheap, and I made a point to do that because mankind can't go out and pay $20,000, $30,000 for a generator system to put on your home. This is a brand new heater that floats in a magnetic field. Nothing touches. It will generate 160 degrees. I worked with this technology for 2.5 years. In fact, it's been longer than that. 4 years ago, I came down here with a small wheel. That developed in that. It's got a turbo wheel in it. It sucks the air up through here, comes out of the hole up here, and after you turn it off, this heater will stay 130 degrees. 130 degrees. I pegged this heater at 300 degrees. You can cook eggs and stuff off the side of it. This side is cold, the other side is hot, but the heat comes out of it. Can you imagine one of these days, and it's going to be real soon, and I was told that this motor will be in California probably about 4 to 5 months. We're going to be working awful hard to get it all done. You never have to have heat in your house again with gas and waking up and think you're going to get your house all blown to pieces. They made a video here on me, and somehow they put some technology on the electric automobile. But there's things has come so far advanced on since they made this video. They have got another video on me that they don't have the electric bicycle or anything in it. There was a lot of people who wanted to know about me and kind of bring you up to date. I am for real, and I will stay for real till this project is done. I got a goal to meet. I promised people in this world that I was doing something, and I'm going to do it. It took a lot of money. I'm telling you, I am moving to Colorado, to a place called Netherland, Colorado. I'm going to buy a mountain. I am going to build a research building there, and that's where I'm going to retire and live my life out. Jim Hurtak is going to move. He's a very personal friend of mine, and he is moving. I was surprised when he told me that he was moving to Colorado. But I've got 3 minutes. Now, what I would like to do, if anybody would like to ask me a question, I wished I could just sit and tell you some of the other technology that's coming alive. But it's happening. The people have stuck out with me. I've heard a lot of people said, just like I said earlier, said they could do things, and they can't do it by putting money in. I've had a lot of people say, well, I'll put $4 or $5 million. It all comes down to, it's a bunch of malarkey. But this is for real, what we've done. And it took God to send somebody to look at a video and said, hey, we can do it. If you would like to ask me a question, this, like I said, this will be my last conference. I would love to try to do this one of these days. Maybe 350 years, come back, and I'll still be around. I've got a deal that I'm trying to disaging myself. I got a twin brother. He looks like my dad, and the device works. If you'll go to the microphone, I will take some, you can ask me a question, and I'll try to answer it for you.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
How does your heater work? On what is its power source, and what is its power output in BTUs per minute or something similar?
We had a test done in Oklahoma City. Some people come up to do this, the other prototype. This one right here was not with a test on it, but you can get on a ladder to the ceiling and it will put air up that high, so it must be putting out pretty good volume. The heater works with, I don't know if you can just take a battery and take a cable and lay it, a piece of copper and lay it across a battery. It will get hot and melt. I come up with a technology on this heater that I generate my own electricity, but you can't put a meter on it to read it, but it'll sure burn you, and it won't hurt you. And the energy that's coming out of this heater is, to me, I've felt real good when I'm around it. So it's really putting some good energy out. Don Lowry is a wonderful man. He's got some technology on, I think it was called the Huck Putty or something like that. And guys, magnets has its energy. I have proved it. It took me 4 months with a patent office to show that you can actually create a magnet into a magnetic ball, and it will roll. That's the reason why the magnetic motor works, and it is a fantastic motor.
Just a simple question. Where can we find out more about your work? Do you have books or a website or anything?
I'm going to try to go through this real fast. How much time have I got? My time says up, but could I answer a couple questions, Dean?
Well, you can answer real quick. Like
Okay.
You got a table, you got an address.
There's a table. Ron Taylor and Dale Pond has got a thing. They know how to get a hold of me. You can get all the information to them. They have got a tape out on me. You can see some of it, and you can order it. I think it comes out of California. I get swamped with people. Last time I went on the air, it took me a year and a half to answer the mail. I don't have time to do that anymore. My time is very valuable anymore to get this stuff out for us.
He's got a table back there. Now, the important thing is that you know who he is. He's got the bicycle that'll run 40 or 80 miles on a little tiny battery. He's got that heater that will be able perhaps to heat your whole whatever home or motor home or whatever. The important thing is you know who he is and what he's got for you. Right back there, you know what he looks like, so you know where to find him.
Well,
I want you to know who he is if you haven't been here before, and what he's doing and where he's from, and he's got an address and cards and table and stuff, so you can find out there, and he can talk to you at length about his product. But the important thing is you know who he is and what he's got. Okay, and thanks a lot, Troy, because they know who you are now, and they know who you're working. I have to apologize. We're always squeezed for time, and as I tell you so many times, we try to squeeze in as much as we can, things that are not on the program. Now, as you've heard, a lot of people think that, if you wait a minute, please, you might be interested in this. Some people, a bunch of people are talking about moving to Colorado. It's more and more all the time. I want you to take a look and see who Jeff Harsh is. He's not going to talk because I'm not going to let him. But he's got a few 5-acre parcels that he owns down in southern Colorado. If you want to get away from it all, he'll show you about that. And for those of you who want to stay right up here in the little knot of people, he has videos of some of that, and I thought and they're real cheap, a price for 5 acres. So I thought you might be interested in seeing some of that as well. And he has a table back there too, and he's going to be around the rest of the time and going to be here for several days. Also, if you've got questions for Danny, I want to tell you that this is the first time Danny Kasson ever stood up and did his thing here. Usually he's laying prostrate when he goes into those trances, and it's very difficult for him. So this is will give you a little clue as to what was happening with him up here. This is the first time he ever tried that. Also, they have a table back there. His maps of the safe area, I'll remind you again that they are available now, just as of when they came in on the plane this morning. It's kind of interesting that this is also the way it was with Gordon Scallion about 7 years ago. His maps arrived the day before he spoke. Frances Robbins, a female or lady, would like to have a roommate for the next 2 or 3 nights. And is Dr. John Panaguti in the audience? Is he here? I just want you to know who he is. He's from Fairfield, Connecticut. This is the first time. Wait, hold your hand up. This is the first time he's ever been here, and today's his birthday, so wish him a happy birthday, Dr. John. All right, take your lunch break and be back this afternoon, because you're going to see some of the most prettiest pictures of crop circles and other things that you've seen for a while. You know, people who develop their own stuff don't know how to present it. Oh, okay.